So we're here with Dalian Adofo and Verona Spence, creators of Ancestral Voices. Yeah, can you tell us what is Ancestral Voices? And yeah, can you tell us what Ancestral Voices is, please?
Well, Ancestral Voices is a documentary about the structural cosmologies of African faith systems, and to basically educate people on what it actually is, because we're aware that there's a lot of misinformation and misrepresentation about these systems, because they're always cast in a negative light. So Ancestral Voices is a documentary that seeks to educate people about what it actually is, and hopefully open pathways for Africans to possibly start engaging more in these practices.
So when you say African faith systems, can you elaborate on that? Because that sounds a bit strange to my ears. Yeah.
Okay. Well, they're among all communities in Africa. Africans have a concept of God. There'll be many names that they'll call that God by, and many names that they'll communicate with this being. So it's not really like a religion in the sense that everything is codified, and in a sense you have this dogma that you're working around. These systems are ways in which the community, in a sense, can speak to their conception of their supreme being.
Okay, that's a very interesting topic. Can you explain to us why you felt the need to make the film in the first place?
The need to make the film in the first place is mainly to educate people, because there's been a lot of miseducation about the topic, so that whenever you mention be an African religion, people just think it's some devilish worship.
Are you referring to things like juju and black magic and those kind of labels?
Yes, well, you see, the labels such as juju and obia are all part of the misrepresentation of what these systems are actually about. These are all labels that in a sense cast a negative light on these systems, because they highlight only negative aspects about it, without really trying to let people get a balanced view that there could actually be an opposite to the negative side of it.
Okay, so in the documentary, would you like to add on to that?
Yeah, I was just going to say, can I add on to that?
Yeah.
You asked why do we make the film, and as Dalian rightly said, is that there's a lot of negative media attention put on this, and for me, coming from a Caribbean background, I remember hearing about the word obia in a house a lot, and always this thing that was something mystical and magical, but always shown in a negative sense. But at the same time, the way that especially my mum would be so sort of fearful of this word or anything surrounding it, it makes you think, well, why are you going to be scared of something that doesn't exist? So for me, there was always an interest, a fascination, but a lack of understanding. And even trying to speak to my parents, there was obviously either miseducation and fear and propaganda put into them. So for me, it was important to do the necessary research to find out. This is the belief of our ancestors. So to deem it all as negative, to me, just didn't make sense. So that was, to me, what the underlying reason for making this is, to find out what at core it really is, and to find out for ourselves rather than just following what we've been taught.
Okay, so would you say that this is a bit to bring legitimacy towards the way African belief systems and whatnot are viewed?
Yeah, I'll definitely say the documentary is not only to legitimize it, but as we're living in this age of religious freedom, where it's all over the news, people of the Islamic faith feel they're being stigmatized, but no one talks about how Africans have always been stigmatized in relation to their religion.
Right. Okay. So can you touch on some of the stuff that you featured in the film and what people might expect to see in it?
Yes, well, one of the main things that for me it really breaks down is the fact that it challenges the whole notion that is being held currently that African spiritual systems are this polytheistic, where you believe in all these different gods and whatnot. But actually, it has the same structure as Islam, Christianity, not so much so as it shares quite a bit with Hinduism and Buddhism, but not in the same sense, because in Hinduism and Buddhism, you have, in a sense, it's an egalitarian system in its spiritual sense, but the African system has the same monotheistic framework as Christianity and Islam. There's a main supreme being at the top, and then you have, in a sense, beings or angels or jinns or whatever you call them that it flows underneath. So that's one of the main things that it challenges, this whole idea that it's polytheistic.
Okay.